Well, my friends, that was a real snooze fest, wasn't it? Sunderland 0, Manchester United also 0. A boring draw, a game which felt like a proper, we've already got the Champions League wrapped up, we've got a couple of fringe players in the starting 11, we lose all balance and just deliver a boring performance. Tomorrow, we'll be analysing the game properly, but today you're just going to quickly get my immediate reaction because I'm busy for the rest of today. And I think first things first, there's a lack of balance in the starting 11 that Carrick has picked today. I like to see a little bit of rotation. I think because of what we've achieved this season, securing the spot in the top 5, and some players having to sit out so much of the season, it made sense to bring some of them in. It made sense to play a Mazraoui or someone like Xerxes, particularly with the injuries we've got. But this team just did not work. There was no balance in the team. It's really technical. Lisandro Martinez, let's highlight him. Lisandro Martinez, Kobbie Mainoo, Mason Mount, Bruno Fernandes, Xerxes, Ahmad as well. All these guys able to get narrow, able to get close. Shaw and Mazraoui, they're technical individuals as well. Get them all close together in the middle of the pitch, and you think you might find some combination football, something that's going to work. But it just didn't, right? Because there's no balance. There was a group of footballers on the pitch that all wanted to come towards the ball. And I just think that is always going to cause a problem if you haven't got someone else that is going to stretch the other way. We seem to make the game so compact for ourselves. We looked so much better the second that Patrick Dorgu came onto the pitch. And I don't think this fella's a winger, don't get me wrong. But because he's willing to run in behind, we could have scored 3 goals in added time here. You know, United still probably should have won the game, which is the one positive, I guess. We've got that quality on the pitch where even where we play badly, we look like we might score. Late on, we should have won the game. Cunha should have scored late on in the game. But let's be honest, this was a terrible performance, really. It was really dry, really flat. Of course, affected by the players forced out with injury. No Casemiro, no Sesko. That's going to affect the way that you're going to play. Naturally, it is. We've lost a little bit of momentum. Carrick hasn't really made many changes to the starting 11. So to then have 5 for this one, it's going to be unsettled. The front 3 haven't played together before. I don't think the midfield 3 have played together before in a competitive game. And there was just a real lack of physicality. Now, recently we've tried to sort of stray away from the physical conversations, try and talk more about the technical side of the game. But I always feel deep down that you've got to earn the right to show the technical. And to earn that right, you've got to physically compete. And I just didn't feel that Manchester United really did in this game. You've got Lisandro Martinez and Maguire at centre-back, who are 2 very good players. But they don't have the mobility to go and play man-to-man. They can't go and do that. I think it was harsh that Heaven didn't start the game. Shaw and Mazraoui didn't have bad games, to be fair to them. But again, they're not powerful guys, are they? They're not particularly quick. Then we got Kobbie Mainoo, who has been amazing recently. Was again probably in our top 2 or 3 performers in this game. But he's not a ground-munching midfielder. You've got Mount, who hasn't played much football, was out of position and looked light in the duel. Bruno Fernandes, who we struggled to get into the game at all. You know, there's a lack of engine, lack of physicality. I felt that we were really sort of out-competed in the middle of the park. I think we were outdone. Now, what we'll probably do at some point tomorrow in the proper breakdown video is talk about our inability to press. And what I'm trying to get my head around at the moment, let's just quickly unhighlight these guys. What I'm trying to get my head around at the moment with the press and trying to think about Carrick long term is he not pressing because he doesn't feel he has the players to do it, or is he not pressing because he doesn't want to do it? Right? Because there's so many spells in this game. My phone's just gone off. How unprofessional. So many moments in this game where we were really passive from the front, and it made it so easily for Sunderland just to walk onto us. And when you're sacrificing that much territory, you're letting Sunderland play out from the back. It's quite easy for them. We often went for a sort of diamond with Bruno behind Cunha and Xerxes, but it's so easy just to lift the ball to your fullback. So easy for Sunderland to do that throughout the game. Then we allow Sunderland loads of territory, and particularly for the first 70 minutes of the match, you know, we're going to end up quite deep. Normally, what we try to do when we end up quite deep is we try and nick the ball back. We're compact, nick the ball back, and then play in transition. But again, because of our team selection, we couldn't do that. I couldn't really tell you what the game plan was for this game. Either, was it last night or the night before? I can't remember. But we spoke about Carrick adapting in a few games, sort of noticing a weakness in the opposition against Chelsea, Brentford and Liverpool, and finding a way to exploit it. This game really just sort of felt like fringe players given an opportunity. It didn't really feel until the last 10 minutes that we were trying to win this game. There wasn't an idea that made sense. We had loads of technical players in the first phase. Lisandro Martinez, Shaw, Mazraoui, Mount, Kobbie, Bruno can drop in. but didn't really look to use it. Instead, we often went long to Xerxes, who isn't particularly good in the long ball situations. It just didn't make a lot of sense. And I think my biggest concern about this game, obviously it doesn't really matter, right? Everything's wrapped up. We've done everything that we needed to do. We've got third place. There is a World Cup coming up. Even if you keep hammering home the message that you've got to compete, you've got to play, your mind is perhaps on the beach just a little bit, or you're looking ahead, you're trying to protect yourself, possibly. But I just didn't feel that we really did much in this game, and Carrick never tweaked it. You know, there wasn't a tweak in this game. There wasn't a change of system. There wasn't a impact from Carrick. 60 minutes, or half time maybe, but 60 minutes into the game, he didn't really do anything. He didn't really... Could Dorgu have come on at left back rather than the wing? By bringing him on to the wing and moving Cunha up front, we sort of kept the same idea. Could we have seen Dorgu left back to give us someone who could fly a little bit quicker and keep Cunha on the left? And could it have been Mbumo up top? It felt like a lot of our changes were sort of like for like, apart from the fact that we eventually had Dorgu as a runner. But could we have done that earlier in the game with Brian Mbumo, for example? It just felt like a bit of a pointless game. That's why today I'm starting off with the reaction. Normally I like to get analysis out as quick as possible. Obviously detailed as well, but normally we like to be quite quick with that. But it just doesn't feel worth it from this one. We will find stuff to talk about during the week. We will find out, I assure you. But in terms of a one-off game, did we learn a lot? Well, we learned that there's no physicality in the team. We know that. We know that there's a lack of intensity. Well, we learned that, but we already knew it. And we know that the squad depth is a problem. We've now wrapped up Champions League football. We will play in the Champions League next season. To do that, you need a squad that can compete on multiple fronts. Today, we've taken 2 players out of the team, Sesko and Casemiro, and De Ligt, you could add to that list, as players missing for this game. And we looked a mile off it, just taking 3 players, 2 out of the recent 11s. That's a little bit of a concern for me, and probably a message to the recruitment team and to Ineos and all of them. You know, we've got to be busy this summer. Carrick's done a great job. The players themselves have done a great job. We've got to remember that. But if we want to go and compete next season in multiple competitions, this was a very timely reminder that we need recruitment. Yes, we just secured Champions League with some big wins against some very good sides, but, and there is a but, you've got to kick on. This summer is not the time to rest. We've got to go and sign better footballers. You know, Xerxes, this was a big opportunity for him. Did he do enough? It's a difficult one. You think to get the best out of Xerxes, you want runners around him. You want players that are going to create space, and we didn't have that. But also, was his technical detail good enough? No. Was his defensive work rate good enough? No. Mount, he's another one who it feels like a big time for him at the club, and we've been saying that for a long time. He was out of position, so I'll be a bit more lenient with him, but did he really do enough? Not sure. Like, just all round. Lomans dealt with everything that he needed to deal with. Good performance. Shaw was okay. Mazraoui was okay. Maguire, okay. Sandro Martinez, okay. Mount, poor. Cobby, decent. Bruno. Ahmad, poor. You know, I think we got to be careful. You don't want to pile in on Ahmad. He's having a tough time of it. We can all see that. Confidence is low. Everything is low. But at times we treat him like he's a little bit younger than what he is. At times we talk about him. There was a moment in the first half where he attempted a dribble. And I went to my brother, I don't mind that. It was a bad dribble. But I sort of went, I don't mind him trying that. And I was like, are we babying him a little bit at times? Just at times. We almost talk about him like he's a 19-year-old. It's good to see that he's confident in taking on his man. The actual consistency of his actions was really poor again. Nothing decisive in the final third. And we've seen a lot of games like that. I think Cunha was the one, like it's been a lot of the time recently, he's the one in the front 3 who looks better than the rest at the moment. I would say he still looks like the one that wants to make something happen. In this game, often overloading midfield, he did that job quite well. Although another sign of too many players coming towards the ball. He's got to score. He's got to score with that last minute chance. Well, he gets 2 chances, doesn't he? 2 opportunities. One where he's coming from this left space here and just doesn't get a shot off. Perhaps overcomplicates it, didn't want it on his left foot. And then the next one is great play from Dorgu. The effect of a runner on the pitch. Finds Cunha and it's a really poor finish. He should score that goal. And that's what's a little bit weird. Because United were poor in this game. I think this is probably the worst game under Michael Carrick. I think the worst performance. First time we haven't scored in a long time. To tell the truth. But probably the worst performance, I would say, under Carrick. Can we excuse it a little bit because of the context of the match? Yeah, probably. Probably a little bit. But also there are some deeper things that we need to look at. And we will be doing that during the week because this wasn't good. This wasn't pretty from United. I didn't like the team selection. I didn't feel that it made sense. I didn't think our substitutes made sense. I didn't feel that the management team, the coaches, impacted the game with a change. And the players on the pitch just didn't play particularly well. So, yeah, that's why I'm not analysing it today. We'll do it tomorrow once I've watched it back for a second time. The joys of being a YouTuber. But for today, we're going to stop there. A poor draw doesn't really mean anything. We're still in the top 3. A win would have pretty much secured top 3 for us, which would have been nice. But today has sort of summarised the race for the top 5 this season, because Chelsea and Liverpool also dropped points with their draw. For United, one of those games, certain things that we've got to be wary of, just moving forward. It sort of pops the bubble of recent results a little bit. I thought against Liverpool we were fantastic until we shot ourselves in the foot. I thought we were brilliant in that game and sort of made it difficult for ourselves. But when we were playing, we looked top. This game, we never really got to playing. There wasn't many spells where we took the ball, controlled it and looked to play through. And that's a problem. There is a physical problem with this squad and that 11. We know that. And there is a technical problem and there is a depth problem as well. But probably some tactical things as well. It's not time to go into crisis mode and fall apart. We're absolutely fine. Lots of big wins. It's good to get a point when you're playing poorly. It's good to grab the clean sheet. We take the point and move on to the next one. To be honest, the season is coming to a close. There might be a couple of matches like this coming up. Hopefully, the quality is going to be a little bit better. I want to see players fighting for their future, fighting for records, fighting for the highest possible league finish. Yeah, it's still been a good season for us. This result doesn't change that. But it's just something that makes you go, okay, we've learned some lessons there. Or we've reaffirmed some things that we already knew. So, yeah, bit of a flat one tomorrow. We will be back with analysis and plenty of videos throughout the week as well, looking at this game, looking at other games, and also potential transfers as well. So make sure to subscribe and get your notifications on so you don't miss those videos. But for this particular one, we are now done. A bit boring, so just a mediocre, flat reaction video today. Analysis tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching this one. Hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.